Guys, welcome to today's podcast. I'm really excited about this one because I've been speaking to this gentleman here. Well, we've known each other for a long time now, and we've been thinking about getting on a podcast for so long. And finally, we were just like, fuck it. Let's just create a podcast in this little studio I've got here. Get him on. First guy I've got on in it. And what we want to be talking about today is his business, how he's come to fruition to create the companies he has, where he was as an athlete back in the day, which is really interesting. How he overcame that, all that stuff there to ultimately create a very large, successful business, which is called Total Mental Performance. Kyran O'Neill, how you doing?
Yeah,
you okay?
Yeah.
Good to have you on.
Yeah, good. Let's see this up.
So I guess firstly, I want everyone to know a little bit more about your background, where it all started right back in the day, your story, because it's a hell of a story. So take us back. Who is Kyran O'Neill? What does he do? What's his story? Tell us.
The Whistle Stop Tour. So I'm Kyran. I'm the founder of Supplement Performance. So what we do is we help entrepreneurs and coaches unlock the mind. So we help them master their emotions, minimize overwhelm, and get more shit done. For me, I really care about psychological freedom, not the absence of suffering, but the ability to suffer and still do what you need to do. Anyway, so I'm a mental performance coach. I have a team of mental performance coaches that work with me as well. I'm a founder of an online business that background. So I actually council house kids, so I don't have I didn't have anyone to observe in business. I very much had to go out and see mentors and find people to teach me how business works and how businesses operate and all those wonderful things. But left school when I was 16, went into software, went to the Peter Jones Academy, who is Peter Jones is a dragon on Dragon's Den, just like a shark tank. Studied the entrepreneurial mind there. You had to run and set up a business. They would observe you and how, instead of you doing exams, they'd observe how you run that company, how you pitch for investment, how you then sell and market and do all those different things. So I had a little bag called a thirsty bag. So what it would do is if you dropped your phone down the toilet, and back then that was a big deal, they just died. Whereas you put it in my bag would dry it. There was 2 silica pouches inside a Ziploc. And yeah, that was a great experience. Left there, went into software sales at 17, sold nothing for my third year, nearly got fired. Had closed over $500,000 worth of software just before my 18th birthday. And that was a real pivotal moment for me. I was like, oh shit, I can make money and I can do it in a corporate setting, not just in, hustle mode. I made enough money to not have to work for a little period of time, not a huge amount, but my dream was always to box. Olympics. I left that role and started training full time, training 3 times a day, up at, for me, which is quite early. I now don't get up till about 9 a.m., 10 a.m., but back then I was getting up at 6, 7 a.m. I'm running in the morning, coming back, having a nap, getting up, doing strength and conditioning or shadow work or technical work, and then going down the boxing gym and then sparring and doing all of that. So I went from I made a few national finals early in my career, but on the senior level, relatively lower down the pack to becoming the 6th in the UK and then getting out of space on the England team. And then I just kept burning out. I kept getting injured, very underweight. So I was fighting at 56 kilos, even though I'm 5'7". So for me, that's a very tall weight for that weight category. And I just burnt out. Eating disorder, anxiety, tried to take my own life. Like, fucking put me through the ringer. It sucked. Going through that, realized I wasn't going to make it. It's very
cutthroat. I mean, like, you and I relate to this because that's obviously my background is very similar to you, the elite sport and how cutthroat it is to that level. I had that realization like you that it wasn't going to happen, and it's that space of time where you're like, am I going to be a victim or am I going to victor? Where am I going? Where are we going now? What was that for you?
Well, I tried back to business. I went back to software sales. Was selling software in London. Did really well.
And it just did well.
It did well. It was great fun. It was, for me, it was always about trying to feel enough. Boxing was a pursuit of enoughness. Sales was a pursuit of enoughness.
Identity as well, right? Like, is that's
winning things. Through there, 6 years of software sales, and I retrained as a cognitive therapist, NLP practitioner, cognitive therapy, all those things. And then I just started coaching people for free.
So at that standpoint, was this like discovery of like, I'm really passionate about this? I love the mind. I love how I can get the best out of this. I've gone through adversity. I now had to ultimately train my mind to become like high level. Was that the passion?
Oh yeah,
That was just, you were just learning that.
I was obsessed. I've always been
Yeah.
obsessed with performance.
Yeah.
Obviously, being athletes, you're always looking for the one.
Yes.
So once you got the basics nailed, then it's like, okay, how do I become world class at the basics?
Yeah.
And then once you're world class at the basics, okay, how do I get the 1%? So I've always been wired that way.
Right.
How can I get better, faster, stronger, fitter, smarter, sharper?
Yes.
I did a lot of mindset coaching when I was an athlete, and I really enjoyed that. I loved that. It was so interesting.
Well, that's the thing. Sorry to bone, like, I think a lot of people who are watching this right now, they see ultimately you in the ring or me in the boat, and they don't see behind the scenes of the little intricate 1% things that we'd had to do to become that individual in the ring.
Yeah.
And they're the building blocks, the foundations, and especially with what you do in your business now, which is instrumental for these individuals, which we're going to get onto shortly, is the foundations, right?
Yeah. Well, everything comes through the mind. Everything we experience in this life, we do all comes through that. So the fact that we don't train it professionally, for me, it's ridiculous. So as an athlete, that unlocked a whole new level of performance, enjoyment, and took me to another league. Software sales is also psychology anyway. It's like, it's all right, okay, how do I find the best market with the best product at the right time to then help the right people, not help the right people? And how do I understand the customer? How do I understand who's in front of me to see whether I can help or not? If I can't, qualify them out really quick. If you can, right, here's how we can. So that was the psychology and asking psychological questions anyway. So I didn't actually realize when I got into this field, I was already capable and equipped to deal with highly volatile, emotional conversations. And I was also equipped to deal with conversations about money, which is bloody great if you're going to just launch your own business. So that's why the biggest rules behind newly found entrepreneurs is actually asking for money.
Yes.
So from there, I found I enjoyed coaching the team more than I did actually closing the deals towards the end. Right. That was a big shift for me because I was like, oh,
management.
That's not. Yeah, well, it was not necessarily the management side; it was the coaching specific. So like, here is a sales process I know that works, or here's a line of questionings that I know that works, or here's a criteria or a frame. I really enjoy teaching those. So from there, that's when COVID hit. I'd made enough money to not have to work, and it was probably about a year before COVID really hit, where I was like, yeah, you know what, I'm just gonna take a year out and just coach and study, and redo my qualifications, and I started coaching people for free. They all said, "Oh my god, this is so valuable! I pay you." They then started referring me lots of clients. And then I did some public talks, a couple of key talks, follow up my business.
Where you are?
So I got here November 2020. Came out with a friend of mine who was going to a business mastermind. I said to him, "Hey, do you want to throw my hat into the ring? I'll do a free talk on mindset and mental performance." And then the event organizer said, "Yeah, sure, why not?" And then there was 25 high performance coaches, or one of these guys and girls were making like 20K a month back then.
Okay.
And they and above. And after the talk, within I think 1 week, there was 25 of them in the room. Within 1 week, 10 of them had signed up. Within 1 month, 15 of them had signed up. And I'm pretty sure there's only like 4 that haven't come to work with me on my team since. Maybe.
Amazing.
So that was a pivotal moment. And then the UAE got put on the red list, so couldn't come back. So I rented a room in I think it was on the 42nd floor of Marina Gate.
Yes.
Beautiful apartment.
It was.
And I rented a room, and in that room, I spent 22 hours. I was spending about 22 hours a day in there. So I was sleeping in there. I was eating in there. I was working in there. I was doing pretty much everything. The only 2 hours out, 3 hours out a day would have been a walk, getting to
around the region,
or going to the gym. So I was just in there, and I was coaching. It was far too much for what I do. Coaching sections a day, and trying to build a brand, and trying to build a business, and trying to hire. So I just did in that room, building and building and building, building. And then it accelerated, and then I quickly hired a coach and team, and it kind of.
I think that's a really good point you mentioned. Is that it's these failure points in life that you have the revelation that then you can hire the next person. So for me, I can relate to you because I think anyone who achieves real excellence is quite obsessive individuals. become that. And I think there's obviously you and I from that athlete background, when we went into business, what we've done there is the nature of obsession to ultimately go and do more that other people are prepared to do. And sometimes it comes at a cost. For me, it was my health again. I ended up in hospital again. And then at that point, I was like, I'm wearing too many hats here. I've got my business at such a high level. I can hire people now. Do it. Stop being scarce, you know? And then maybe that was the same revelation when you were starting to hire coaches in your business. You were like, okay, I've got the momentum now. I can afford to do this and grow out. Fail forward, in essence, really, yeah?
Well, yeah, it was. The way that I did it back then, which I wouldn't do it again, is I had consultant coaches.
Yeah.
They only got paid on the work.
Yeah.
Wouldn't do that again now with the hindsight. The reason I wouldn't do that is consultants are much harder to manage than full-time employees.
Employees, yeah.
Because they have their own drivers, they have their own goals, and other things.
Exactly, yeah.
They are harder to manage, less profitable, but less risk. So, you know, if you got a load of demand, you haven't got costs on the book.
We spoke about that a lot when we were, like, obviously we've known each other for a while. Like, our businesses grew from contractor model and then we shifted to employee because we realized that. But even from having loads and loads of employees like we did, I have 50 now on the books, like, it's people management. It's just, we're now in the business of people and managing people and get the best out of people. And like you say about margins, profit, efficiency. But yeah, so you came to that revelation that, you know, you're there right now, you're where you're wanting to go moving forward. That's really interesting.
I didn't appreciate as an employee, and I think some consultants don't always understand, is the actual cost of doing business.
Absolutely.
It's like I used to I'll make requests to the management team, give me 20 grand to go and speak at this event. I'll go and have a stall at this event and I'll turn it into 100 grand or whatever. And then they wouldn't give you the money and be really frustrated. But why don't you give me the fucking money? Like, I'm not going to do this. But it's almost like when you don't see the other side, it's like, you believe it's this endless money pot. Well, just give me the money. Like, well, why are you holding on to it? You don't actually realize there's the amount of risk, the amount of losses, the amount of investments going on. It's not just your part of the little machine, the whole machine. And I think that's been a big revelation for me. But I get frustrating because when the team don't see that, hang on a minute, you don't understand how much I'm spending on marketing, sales, implementation, and all these things.
So I guess this is a really interesting one, like how you're speaking now and how you're speaking about, look, I need this 20 grand. I need to go and do this, because you've got that so much inner certainty in you as an individual. And I guess that's now what you're getting across to your clients all around the world, is creating that inner certainty, not this fabricated confidence, true inner certainty to translate to here, to make these ideas become reality, right?
Yeah. All my clients, all of our clients all own businesses.
Yeah.
So if they have the 20 grand, they can make the bet. But they might have I'll just pick a random number there, but they might have that and then they don't have the confidence to execute on it. That's where we come in. So, well, hang on a minute. If logically you know you'll get a real positive return on investment, or you have the confidence to back yourself, if it doesn't go well, then you're good. Whereas if you're stuck in maybe land, you're always just...
So is that what you're helping people to say, look, this isn't a bet, this is a calculated decision instead, and ultimately finding that inner, so they can move from that comfort zone through the fear zone into that learning zone quicker. So
I use the word bet because bets are fun. Like, it's fun. You know what I mean? Like when you put a bet down, I don't bet, I don't gamble. No. But when I think of bet, I think of sports. I think sports, I think of fun, exhilaration.
Fantasy footballing.
Boxing, or like all these various different things. I really love that. So I try and get my clients to think, how can I play? You know, it's not, when you take things too seriously, you're not in your best way to perform, because you're so tense and tight and your thinking is so limited.
So I think this is a really good thing to mention whilst we're on it, is obviously a lot of online coaches are going to be watching this. This is the audience, and they're interested in hearing what you've got to say with that balance and finding lifestyle balances. Like, I've also, you know, many years ago, been so obsessive that I've struggled to have that balance, and a lot of online coaches struggle with that in creating that being and becoming element, right? What do you have to talk about that?
It depends on where you are. I didn't have any balance my first 2 years.
Same. Let's go.
It was relentless.
You have to be. It's
relentless. So I think you have to earn the right balance.
Yeah.
And how do you know you've earned
I like that.
Well, you've got enough cash in the bank, enough systems and infrastructure and financial stability to go, all right, I'm safe.
Yeah.
I can afford a few months of losses and it's not going to kill me. I know where my client's coming from. I know that I can deliver on results. That's one part. Then the other part of that is then actually not feeling guilty or ashamed for taking time off.
Yeah.
Most business owners feel ashamed for taking down time. Well, they can't.
Yeah, anxiety, right? Anxiety.
Yeah. Stuck on their phones
because they are the business. They're in a glorified job.
Yeah,
Listen to.
yeah. If you're just starting out and you're a one person online coach, then yeah. I'd say there's a big difference between online business and offline business. Online business is a real cerebral game. Like, you have to think, you have to put infrastructure in, look at data and analytics and all those things. Whereas an offline coaching is very much face to face. Who can you network with? How can you build a business that way?
Yeah.
So your emotions would dictate whether you're successful or not. And if you're being ruled by your emotions and you can't get shit done, you're always spin out. So that's where balance comes in. I mean, for me, I work Mondays, Tuesdays. I take a king day.
Tell them what a king day is, because I love this with what Kyran does. See, it's this king day. I'd love them to know what that is.
So Wednesdays are just for me. They're just for me to sharpen my saw. I don't do anything else.
Just
I actually had my first paddle lesson as a
yes, we were speaking about that off air, weren't we? Yeah.
And I had my first paddle lesson on Wednesday in the morning. So I hit paddle, always had a coffee, and then I'm just journaling in a really nice, really beautiful area, just being still. Sometimes I go to the beach, sometimes I go to the pool, and then I get back to work on a Wednesday night. Then on a Thursday, so that's King Day. King Day is all about being on my own, and being still and resting and recovering. Now, that's easy for me because I don't have kids. And when you have kids, it's a different story. So when my clients have kids, well, how do you create king afternoon, like 2 hours, 1 hour, 2 hours,
a moment?
Yeah. Like squeeze, like having that time to just sharpen your own saw and chicken. Thursdays is calls. Fridays is calls. Saturdays completely off. I switch my work devices off. And then Sundays, I do a one-to-one PT session with my coach trains me. Then I sort of help him out. We go for a coffee afterwards. And then here I am doing this. Then I'll spend the afternoon writing content or whatever.
Amazing. There's some things that you mentioned earlier in the podcast that I really want to pick on, because I think are really interesting with the mindset side of things. Once again, you mentioned regarding your education. And this is how I was speaking to a few people offline the other day as well, is I went to uni like you. And you did go to I went to uni and I did a degree in business whilst I was with Team GB Rye, and none of that business degree I used to get to where we've got with the 9 companies we have today. Like, none of it, and a heap of student loan debt and everything else. Not fun. But like you, when you were saying about mentors and investing in yourself and understanding, like for me, how I viewed it when I was in that hospital bed, I was thinking, it's a game of snakes and ladders. That's what it is. You're at the bottom of the board. You want to climb to the top of the board. And there's people out there who are the ladders that are further ahead than you. You're going to take their tools, assets, and systems, climb the board. And treating it like a game is that there's mentors and people out there that have done what you want to achieve. So they are like your tools, assets, and systems that you take and shorten your learning curve. You climb up the board. Unfortunately, you land on a snake sometimes, which is a bad experience with a mentor or something like that. And you fall down, but then you've got to have the mental fortitude to pick yourself up and go and find the next ladder.
That's a really beautiful metaphor.
I thought that all the way back in 2015, 2016, when I was in a similar situation to you. I had anxiety, depression. I didn't want to be here anymore because we were so obsessed. For me, I like you, I was so obsessed with this identity that I had to be Olympic gold medalist. I had to be. And if I didn't, I was a failure. And that's why I wanted that revitalization, creating a new identity for myself, which was all about letting go of the past, accepting it, failing forward, and reshifting my energy and focus into something that could ultimately find me purpose and passion. Probably similar to what you went through as well. And just echoing what you're saying there, the mentors has grown me so much, investing in myself through people like that, as opposed to the traditional school of education that we're used to. The society used to.
Everyone learns differently.
Yeah.
Everyone learns very differently, and some people learn better through mentors. Some people learn better through courses. If you can try to get a mixture of both, that works for a lot of people. For me, I mean, I've always learned from mentors.
Yeah.
My first ever mentor was a boxing coach called Martin.
Yeah.
And he just said,
incredible.
Stop fucking about. It's just 15, and it's all right. Yeah, I did all right. So I learned that model very early.
Yeah.
This person knows something that I don't. Yeah. They've been there and they've walked the walk so that I can learn from them.
Yeah.
And then my boxing coach, Martin, his brother, Steve, was my first ever business mentor.
Really?
He owned a car garage.
Yeah. Was that the one we met on the yacht in Dubai?
That was Gareth.
That was Gareth.
That was one of
Yeah,
my
he was
mentors.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, Gareth is a cool guy. So Steve owned a car garage. He's the only person I knew owned a business.
Yeah.
I didn't know anyone.
That's all right.
And he was like, he gave me so much time and energy and attention. And he invested 15 grand.
Amazing, yeah.
And I lost it all. I told him I'd pay it back, and I paid back every penny.
Yeah, good.
And there was no contract. It was just
I'm a man of my words, yeah.
old school stuff. Shaking hands, I'll do that, and
Yeah.
that was it. And he taught me, and it's just been this consistent cycle of learning and growing, and you know, and then there comes a point where you hit a plateau,
Yeah.
and you've got to go up an investment level,
Yes.
and then make sure we go, oh shit, like that's
Yes.
pretty scary. So
Yes.
invest in that level, and then you go, that becomes a new level, and then you got to get to that next
Yes.
one, and it's breaking through on that.
I'm sure you felt this, is that ultimately when you were starting out in business, you then reached a certain level that you thought maybe wasn't attainable, but you did. And then you're like, oh, I've done it now. And then you're thinking, what's next? And we're just limiting ourselves, the stories we tell ourselves, the limiting thoughts that we ultimately have in here. And we're just a computer. This is just a computer of programmed with who we've learned from school, education, society. And the more we can expand this to think bigger, that's when we can grow. And that's where I'd say 99% of people in life are so limited here because of what they're taught at school and everything else. They don't think bigger, they don't explore, they don't understand what can be possible. So when they turn around and hear someone like Kyran O'Neill who's gone and done this and this, they go, that's impossible. That lucky guy. Do you know what I mean? And it's all about shifting that perspective, I think, is a big, massive thing with that mindset coaching.
Yeah. What like annoys me is, oh, it's all right for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I kind of torn because I do believe there is an element of luck. So whereas if you're born with
Yes.
real mental incapacity, then there's nothing you can really do about that.
Yeah.
But for the majority of the population, like, you know, like you're not born with that. So there is an element of luck insofar as you have to be born with the prerequisites. Like, okay, it sounds a bit weird, but your IQ level has to be at a certain level for you to understand certain things.
Yes.
Like that might sound controversial, but that is a inherent reality.
Yeah.
You got there's a level of physical capacity where like you have, and it's changing now, but like just having fingers so you can type on a laptop is really important.
Yeah.
And having the motor skills and the physiological side and the energy to do that.
Yeah.
But if you don't have any serious mental handicaps or physiological handicaps or illness and disease, then actually you're quite a healthy human being and whatever. And that doesn't mean you can't win if you have those things, by the way. There are some very successful people in those areas, but you know, as long as those things aren't capitating and really stop you in your tracks, you can do that. You can change the game, but you need people to spot your thinking. And also, I think the most underrated skill is being able to take really harsh feedback on the chin and go, yeah, you know what, you're right. I had it this morning, which I'm working on, is I don't have the same physical robustness that I had when I was a fighter.
Yeah.
And yesterday I slipped. I smashed my knee. Pointing at the same.
Oh, really? Yeah. In your room, yes.
Smashed on the side, on the floor, for like a deck, looking like a Premier League football player. Anyway, and then I was in the gym today, and my coach was with me, was observing me, and he was like, "You don't even want to, you don't try?" And I was like, "No." He was like, "Why?" And I was like, "Because he's hurt, so I've got to rest it." And he's like, "We haven't even tried yet." And then I become so aware of this pain that all my brain was telling me was, "Oh, don't do it. You're gonna make it worse."
Yeah.
It wasn't that bad. So he said, "Kyran, I've got to be honest. You're telling yourself a story, and you're not as injured as you think you are." Like, ouch.
Interesting.
Ouch. So you need people that can
recognize it, right?
Yeah, and
accountability.
Your ego will get in the way and say, "Fuck you. You don't know what you're talking about," and get lost.
Yeah.
Or you go, "Yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
Point." And I think when you have a real solid mentor, they'll tell you not what you want to hear, they'll tell you what you need to hear, and then you've got to be in a place where you're ready to receive that.
I think it's also like, I agree with you. I think it's also from our side as mentors is approaching it the right way. For instance, saying, "Hey, Dave, do you mind if I give you some honest feedback?" Getting permission from it and then going. Because like this is what I wanted to cover with you is that whole NEPQ, neuro-emotional persuasive questioning, helping people influence themselves as opposed to us telling them what to do. Because us telling them what to do they're not going to do it. Them telling themselves that inner certainty, confidence, this is what I need to do.
I hate holding up a mirror.
Yeah. Right.
But that's why I say I'm a professional mirror holder. And I might show you the angles that you don't like.
Yes. That's where you grow, but that's where you go. Like,
it's up to you as to whether or not you want to
change. Yeah.
I believe in something called fearless coaching, which is the ability to say the things that everyone else in their lives left unsaid. So outside of TMP, I've coached some highly successful
yes,
high net worths, international athletes, and a lot of these people they intimidate a lot of others. They scare them. So as a result, nobody wants to tell them how things really are. And I've had conversations with clients where I've said, look, can I be honest with you? Yeah, here's what I see. And they've blown up and they've exploded. How dare you? And I sit there, I go, okay, anything else? I said, look, it's your choice. You can either choose to ignore it and continue down your current path, or you can think about it. But you told me you weren't happy with the current loop. So that is evidence of the same loop repeating itself, or you can do something about it. But hey, it makes no odds to me as to whether you continue this path or not. And fearless coaching is saying the things that everyone's too afraid to say, and then actually not being afraid to let a client go. No word.
Yeah, because it's in the best interest at the end of the day. Like you say, it doesn't change my life. I'm saying this purely to serve you right now. And that's, yeah, absolutely. I think it's approach, but spot on. I was going to mention something else if you feel comfortable talking about it. Like you mentioned about your own mindset and how tough times really came for you, where you were like, I'm not too sure if I want to be here anymore and all that. And I can relate to that dark time in my life. If you feel comfortable, what was that like? How did it get to a point where you felt like that? And then more importantly, how did you overcome it? Where did you go? How did you do it?
Yeah, so for me, I didn't want to be here anymore. That was because I built up this idea, and men do this.
Yeah.
And part of it's partially true, but not always helpful, which is for me to be a successful man, I have to have a six-pack, not people and make lots of money.
Yeah.
And there is an element of that as a man's role is to provide.
Yeah.
A man's role is to protect and, having a fit, strong, capable body, defend yourself and make money is a part of that.
Yeah.
But I took that too seriously.
Yeah.
So with the boxing, I really just became so hyper obsessive. And then there was a couple of trigger points. One was my first boxing coach dying, and I promised him that on his deathbed, I'd win him the national title.
Yeah.
And I put so much pressure on myself.
Yeah.
I couldn't win it, because I was unable to relax. And after he died, I lost 3 fights in a row, which I'd never done.
Yeah.
And then I lost 2 fights in a row, let alone 3. And I just it just spun out. But then I got back in control, and then I started working my way, and then I got onto the England team, and then I was trying to maintain a weight that just wasn't healthy.
Because that's a big thing about boxing, right? Like I know a lot of people do know, but you've got so many different categories, and you've got to stay in certain limitations, certain frameworks. That's a challenge in itself, right?
I didn't back and believe myself going to the weight above.
Yeah.
Okay. I just didn't.
Yeah.
So, because I didn't back and believe myself, I was holding myself at this weight. Think about it. I was doing 12 to 1,400 calories a day, training 3 times a day.
Brutal.
That makes sense. You're training 3 times a day. I was wondering why I was so anxious and tired.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's only so long you can stay in that.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where I didn't want the Olympic gold medal anymore, but I was forcing my body and my vessel through that for a promise that I'd made to my coach. So but dreams change. They do change, and my dream en route had changed.
Yeah.
Boxing's a hard way to make a living.
Yeah.
And I have the mental capacity to not have to take a punch in the face to get paid. So I kind of reached this point where I was burnt out, depressed, didn't want to be here anymore. And I was I didn't leave my parents' house for 2 weeks, brushing my teeth. It's really weird to bring it up again because I'm so far away from it.
Yes, of course.
Even just brushing my teeth was hard. Having the motivation to go and brush my teeth
felt flat.
Yeah, that was a real big win for me. It was that horrible and dark. And then it didn't really get any better because back then men didn't go to therapy. So I spoke to the NHS. They didn't have any therapists. It was like a wait list every year, which is shit. I was just like, and then I met Hazel, and she's a former kickboxing world champion.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And my ego was like, I don't want to work with a woman won't understand me. But I didn't really have a choice because I wanted to work with somebody that worked with boxing.
Yes.
And there weren't any male boxers that were therapists.
Okay.
Like even today, there's not that many. There's more now, but wasn't that really. And then she dragged me out the hole and helped me out. That was quite a long, lengthy, hard, difficult process. Then I got fighting again, and I started enjoying my boxing again, and I started winning again. And then that was like the second point where I got back on to the team. So I got let go, got back into the team. It's just like my body wasn't moving. It's like my mind was getting in the way, and my mind wasn't letting me throw the punches I knew I could throw. I didn't want it. I didn't want it, but yeah, it just wasn't the thing.
Okay.
So then there came this realization where I realized that, and that was like, oh shit, I've got to let go of this now.
Yeah.
That's not me. And then I went up into software sales.
Yeah. Interesting. Very interesting. I also have a moment like that where I actually relate back and I look back similar to you, where obviously with the rowing and what happened, and then I wanted Boston Regatta, I won it. And then the day after I couldn't move my legs. And then the week after I was in hospital. And before I knew it, I had 3 lifelong illnesses. I was out for 2 years in a hospital bed. I tried to come back like you. I was like trying to come back. I wanted to get the Olympics. I wanted to push on. And I just knew in my body I was absolutely ruined. Like I was a broken man. The 3 immune issues that I had, it just debilitated me completely, mentally as well. And I wasn't the same. So I had to go for that, similar to you, that massive rebuilding phase of self-mastery, self-development, humbling myself that, look, I need to channel this Olympic mindset now into business, into self-development, and grow. And like you say, like you're starting at ground zero again, that's fine. But we've got that mindset to go again. And I think that it comes back to is that if it all got taken away from you again today, be fine. You go again.
I've got the skills.
Yeah.
The skills. If you had to do this, right?
Yeah.
Kyran, I can delete everything that you have and everything that you feel, but we won't delete your mind.
Yeah.
Or we'll delete your mind.
Yes.
But we won't delete everything that you have.
Yeah.
Insofar as the skills and
Yes.
the mindset required. Oh fuck! I'd take my things like the skills and the knowledge and the wisdom and the contacts and everything that I've built.
Yes,
that is worth more than the stuff.
Yes, the materials stuff and everything. I like that. It's like for me, where I'm trying to get slowly and closer to is this mindset of the Buddhist, like walking with all his belongings on his shoulder, walking around like little belongings and like less stuff, more headspace. Getting there sounds bliss, to be honest. So, but yeah, well, one last segment before we wrap this up, because I think this is really important, right? This is why people are tuning in. They know your name, they've heard of you and everything else, what you do. I want you to tell them and me, really, okay, these online coaches, what are the common pitfalls they're dealing with right now, and how do you solve them through what you do?
So I've got a model. It's 3 key parts. It's self-worth, overwhelm, burnout. So the self-worth piece, typically online coaches specifically, what they're struggling with is they're usually anxious, they're overwhelmed, they don't feel good enough, they're comparing themselves to other people on the internet and other coaches and perceiving everyone as competition.
Yeah.
There's a sense of imposter syndrome, or am I really the person to create content? Who am I to speak? Who am I to coach and sign these clients? Guilt and shame. Who am I to charge this much money? Who am I to ask for money? All of these parts, all these emotional limiting beliefs, all come through the mind, come through your relationship with yourself. So our job is to understand where were these beliefs born, and they're always born in childhood or any experiences between. And when you can start to understand that you don't have to think and feel like this, the level of thinking and doing that you're at and your level of achievement that you're at, you can start to really pivot and change. So let's say typical coach, let's say they're starting out, or maybe they're making so they're a solo coach, or they're about to make their first hire, or whatever. I see you're in that stage, and you're overwhelmed, and you're anxious all the time, and you can't switch off, and you're wondering, is this going to be like the rest of my life? And you're stuck in comparison. You're wondering, am I really the person who can do this? Can I really pull this off? Well, that's where we come in. We understand, where were these beliefs born at? Where were these beliefs that you're not enough or worthy or capable of achieving these things? Where was that born? Where was the need to validate yourself, improve yourself through the finances or through a six pack? Where does that come from? Where was that born?
Yeah.
So as we start to unpack that, well, then we unlock a new level of freedom because you can think and feel differently.
Because it's self-aware, right? It's self-aware, becoming more aware.
Well, you've got unconsciously incompetent, you've got consciously incompetent, and then you've got consciously competent, you've got unconsciously competent.
Yes.
So we take our clients through the whole cycle.
Yes. That's literally what they use for us in GB, and what we use in our mentorship is that 4 stages of what you say. I love it. I think it's brilliant. It's so true.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what field, whether you're business coaching, mindset coaching, sports,
It's all the same, yeah.
pie eating contests. Something you're doing in a pie eating contest.
I'll be there.
Yeah. So that's one part. And the overwhelm. So learning how to manage overwhelm.
Yes.
Actually understand and have clarity. This actually needs to be done. This doesn't really need to be done. How do you get more done in less time?
Yeah. Did you come about non-negotiables and negotiables kind of thing? Or is it a little bit more to it than that?
I mean, I call them business as usual tasks. That's posting every day.
Yeah.
Or creating content every day.
Yeah. Okay.
Shooting one podcast a week or whatever those are.
Yeah.
And you got the other stuff where you really work on the business versus in the business.
Yes.
And social rules. Some people use that language. And then finally burnout, because the boom and bust cycle, the feast and famine cycle can only go so long before you want to jack in and throw in the towel because you're burnout, you're tired. You got into coaching to help people, and then all of a sudden it just feels like a really expensive, difficult job.
Yes.
So we help our clients get calm. They're calmer in who they are.
Mental stillness.
You give them clarity on who they are, clarity on where it is that they're going. We give them the confidence to go out and do it.
And you doing all this, I know because I know you very well and some of the results, but for people who are wondering, what are the quality of these results that you're doing? What are they?
Yes.
What do they look like?
There's a number of different reasons why people come to us. Some people are like, I want to make more money. My mind's getting in the way. How do I make more money? There's a guy called Jack Jakes, JJ Transformations.
Yeah.
He's stood on stage twice. Seen not our events either. And he said, yeah, working with TMP helped me double my business. He had a lot of imposter syndrome. He was very anxious. He was very afraid. He was very in his own head, and he was worrying a lot. And once he got out of his own way, he made better decisions faster. There's more done. His business absolutely flew. So if the financial thing is important to you, then there's an example there.
Yes.
Message Jack and just ask him, hey, how did TMP work for you? Let me think of someone else.
Because obviously it's the business element, but it's also the personal relationship side of things as well, and ultimately oneself, and ultimately heightening and self-mastery of that then they can obviously take into business. For us, obviously what I do, I think it's so important because I'm in the business of people now. I've got so many staff, thousands plus across these 9 different companies. The buck stops at me, and everyone is an extension of me. And if I'm not showing up how I need to show up, I can't get the best out of them. And I think, you do so much there as well, don't you? That self, that inner, then they take forward and using other of these.
So we can't. It's the 3 coins.
Yeah.
Clarity and confidence. That's it. It's because our clients, they make more money even though they do business coaching.
Yes.
Because they're thinking, feeling, and performing on a completely different level. I mean, you tell me if you're 50% more calm, if you had 50% more clarity, and you were 50% more confident, like what would that do for your business? You tell me.
Absolutely. I think, well, it's like with sport, like what you're in. If you're too anxious, then you have a drop off in performance, right? It's exactly the same, I'd imagine, right?
Looking too relaxed as well, you're not going to get it done.
Right. Okay.
See, you're tired. There's what I call there's a level of positive tension.
Yeah.
Enough tension, so you're on the money. Too much tension, you're too tight. Too soft, and nothing's happening. So that's really where we help identify, are you too stressed, too anxious, too overwhelmed? Or actually, do you fucking hate what you do? Because a lot of clients reach out to us when they've achieved their goals. They don't know what to do next.
Yeah.
What do I do? How do I get back to positive tension?
I want to do something interesting for this segment just to finish off here. There's a lot of online coaches listening to this who are wanting to better themselves, wanting a better life, wanting to grow their businesses. What are the top 3 revelations, maybe top 1 or 2 or 3 revelations you've had from your timeline of experience that they need to hit?
Like my mentor challenged me to write a book called Psychological Freedom for Ambitious Minds. He just get me to try and distill it down to 5 points. Still working on that. But number 1, you're enough without the stuff. like you're enough without the money or the success or whatever that is. That's one big part. Another part is meaning and purpose trumps sort of scarcity and hard work and ambition and whatever.
Yeah.
Because if you can find something that you love and a process that you love, you'll be able to do it for longer. And the man that loves walking will walk further than the man who's walking to try and hit 10K a month. Like, so if you can really tap into meaning and purpose and you realize you're enough without the stuff, then you become dangerous because you're not doing it for anyone else. You're doing it for you and you understand why you're doing it. For me, it's unlocking psychological freedom for ambitious minds. That's it, I think. And then number 3, it is just great tutorage.
Yeah.
I love the word tutorage. Like having good tutors to teach you.
I want to get that. That's it.
When it comes to good tutoring, that is having people that have been there and done it and aligned to your values and will help you do it.
Yeah.
And because get rich quick schemes don't work. And even if somebody has gotten rich quick, they're only teaching you what worked for them, not necessarily what worked for you. So it's finding a really top tutor that can spot your blind spots, spot your strengths, spot your opportunities and go, actually, have you considered this? Versus, here's exactly what I did, follow exactly what I did, because that might not work anymore. So those are the 3 things I would say.
I like that. I say this to a lot of our clients around the world as well, is that when they say, oh, James, you've done this, or where you're up to, I go, well, yeah, we're a 9-year overnight success. And they go, oh, it takes time. And that's the thing is it's a game of momentum and being in the game. That's why I always say to people, we'll still be there at the end. Like a lot of people fall back and they're like, oh, this isn't for me. I'm gonna say that most people who are successful, they just stayed and they hung around. And those points of resistance, they found them and they moved forward from them, they learned from them, and you keep moving forward. But I really appreciate your revelations today. It's really cool having you on. Where can people learn more about you, your socials, your handles, everything else?
Yeah, so check us out on Instagram at Transformative Performance, www.transformativeperformance.com. If you've heard that and you've gone, wow, this guy's really speaking to me, I think he or his team can help. And just if you head to the website, click apply for a call, mention this podcast, and yeah, essentially the way that we do it is it's one-to-one coaching. So you will work with a one-to-one expert to help you unpack this. We do have a quarterly mindset. This is actually an exclusive, James, but we've got a quarterly program coming out.
Lovely.
Coaching called the Quarterly Breakthrough. So that's not out live yet. And then if you're listening to that and you're thinking, oh, I'm not ready for one-to-one, then check that out, because at the beginning of every quarter, we're doing new intakes now.
Amazing. Thank you very much for your time. Kyran is also an avid FBL player that he's got big games later today, but I think I'm ahead of you this weekend. Am I right in saying, yeah?
Well, on points. I've got the lead.
I'm coming back. We're coming back. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching in today, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers. Bye.